Alright, hi, Mr. Ko here again, and today's topic is compound inequalities. Our goal for today is we're going to solve compound inequalities. And the California standards that we're going to hit for today is California Standards 5.0, and the vocabulary that we're going to work on today is compound inequality, the word itself. And that basically means two inequality statements that are joined together. So we're going to go ahead and take two separate inequality statements and we're going to place them onto one graph. And that's basically it for the compound inequalities. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with this one. And we're going to go ahead and solve for inequalities. And our first step is we're going to take both of the inequalities, we're going to solve them equally, separately. And let's start off with the first one. It's a simple one-step one, so we're going to just add 2. Add 2. That gives me m is less than negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Okay. And this one, m over 8 is greater than 1, so we're going to go ahead and multiply this by 8. Multiply this by 8. 8 over 8 becomes 1. I now have m is greater than 8. Alright, so I'm going to graph this and this only on the same graph. And then we're going to go ahead and figure out where my numbers end up. Okay? So let's start on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and create a dot right here. And it's telling me that m is less than negative 6. So all my values are going to be less than negative 6. And that's what the m means. On this one, m is all the values that are greater than 8. So we're looking at an open circle again because there's not an equal sign. Okay, so my answer that can go fit into m for both these two inequalities would be my answers that are less than negative 6 and my answers that are greater than 8. That's it. So again, we've solved them both inequalities separately. Then we graphed them both. And then we shaded in the sides that we're looking for that m. Pretty simple. Alright, let's do another one. And this time we're going to go ahead and solve and inequalities. So same here, we have a one step. So we're going to subtract 8 here because we're adding 8 to do the inverse. Subtract 8. Subtract 8 here. We now have x is greater than or equal to 9 minus 8 is 1. Then we're going to do the same thing here, times 7, times 7. We now have x is less than or equal to 7. And then just to make a very simple graph, okay, so here we have our graph. And again, just making sure that your graph has your two numbers that you're going to need to be able to graph those up. So we're going to solve them both separately. We're now going to graph them separately. So I'm going to graph this one first. So I'm looking at 1, and I'm looking at a open dot, and then shade it in. And I'm looking for all the values that's going to be larger than 1. Okay? Then I'm also looking for the values that are x, which is less than or equal to 7. So again, open dot first, and that equal sign tells me I have to shade it in. But I'm looking for all the values that are less than 7. So what you notice is that where it's different from the first one, these two are both dots that are in between, and all the values that are going to fulfill these two are in between here. So we can try that out. If I put 0 in here, that's not going to work out. However, it does work for this one. But remember, we're looking for the word and, so it has to work for both. So the only values that I see in here are between these two numbers. Okay? So every single number between 1 and 7, it'll definitely fit for both of these, and it'll work for both of them. Alright, moving on. Alright, and our last one, solving combined inequalities. Now, this one looks like one entire inequality, but you're going to notice there's two inequality symbols there. So all I'm going to do here is write them both out separately. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cross off one of them. Just with my hand, just kind of cover it up. So if I cover this part up, I should only have negative 1 less than 9 plus n. That's my first inequality. Since I've covered this side up, I'm now going to cover this side up for my second inequality, and then that's going to be 9 plus n less than 17. So all you're really doing here is you are just writing it just by taking off one of the inequalities that's on either side. So here, let's go ahead and solve that out. This is a one-step equation, so I'm going to subtract 9 from here, because it's the inverse of adding 9. Subtract 9 from here. I now have negative 10 is less than n, and then on this side, I'm going to subtract 9 and subtract 9. I now have n is less than, and 17 minus 9 is going to give me 8. Okay, so I'm looking for a graph that's going to contain that and that number. So let's just start off with 0, and let's go with, let's just go 8, and let's just go negative 10. Alright, just to make things easier. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this one. Now if you look at it, this is negative 10. Negative 10 is less than n. So n is going to be on negative 10. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a open circle. There's no equal, so that means that's not part of the answer. And n is greater than negative 10, which means I need everything going this way. Then on this one, I have n is less than 8. So I have 8, and I'm looking for values of less than 8, which means everything in here. So I have everything that's going in between here for this particular combined inequality. It looks very much like the and inequality as well. So that's it. Thanks.